President Biden publicly questioning Israel's military conduct in Gaza.
I'm of the view, as you know, that the conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top.
Saying that publicly, Biden's comments coming as his administration is negotiating for the release of more hostages. Here to react, Fox News senior strategic analyst, retired four-star General Jack Keane. General, the significance of the president saying that yesterday, and is he right?
Yeah, I mean, this is really unfortunate, but at least it's in the public. What's been going on for weeks. The administration has put a fair amount of pressure on the Prime Minister and the IDF forces to change the nature of their operations. On the one hand, reduce the comprehensive bombing campaign. That has been reduced. Number two, to change the nature of the ground operations and stop the clearing operations, which is building by building, street by street, tunnel by tunnel, and conduct limited raids and also focus on leaders. The IDF looks at that quite accurately, in my view, and says, well, that protracts the war rather dramatically because we're not going to systematically dismantle Hamas as a result of it as a fighting force. And I know for a fact that when we focused on leaders in Iraq for 3 years, while we killed a lot of leaders, we were at the same time losing the war on the ground because our strategy wasn't right. And it would really be inappropriate for the IDF to take that advice and start following it, and it will not lead to their end state, which is really to dramatically reduce Hamas, dismantle it, and prevent it from ever attacking again. If we put in play the strategy that the United States is suggesting, what will happen is the Hamas leadership will survive, a fair amount of their fighting force will survive, and what will happen? They will rearm, rebuild, and reattack. And that's absolute failure for the Israelis, because then they're not what? They're not protecting their people. And that's what's driving the leadership of Israel. And I think we should support them and get out of the way.
I 100% agree. Evidently, the Prime Minister gave the Secretary of State a virtual slap in the face when they were together a couple of days ago, because I think he suggested the same thing. There's been a change of leadership in Ukraine. Zelensky has fired his former chief of the military. He's hired a guy named General Zursky, who's nicknamed the Butcher. Is this a good move?
Well, that's up to the Ukrainians to decide here. I mean, Zelensky is very popular, Brian. He's a change agent. He tried to change the Soviet doctrine, you know, of the focus on centralization and decentralize his force.
Yep.
You saw that in the accomplishments that they've had in doing that. He's earned a huge amount of respect, so much so that many people in Ukraine want him to replace Zelensky as president. So that's a tension point right there. The second tension point for President Zelensky was, of course, the counteroffensive did not succeed, and Zelensky described it as a stalemate in an interview, and that infuriated the president. Also, the new defense minister, excuse me, who I've spoken to a couple of times, I know full well that he has had issues also with Zelensky and his popularity and his obstinance at times. This is a decision for them to make.
Gotcha.
Obviously, Zursky is very qualified. They're in war. Not everything is going the way they want to. They want to make a change. Let them make that change.
Gotcha.
And it's complicated because of the issues I mentioned.
And we just got to get them the aid, and hopefully they're going to get that through. Mike Pompeo and Mike Pence wrote an editorial, and they seem to be singing your song, General. They're talking about it's time to strike back at Iran directly. You feel the same way?
Oh, yeah, this is long overdue. The center of gravity for all the proxy activity that is going on in the Middle East is Iran. The longer we ignore that, the longer it goes on. It is that simple, Brian.
I hear you. General Jack Keane, thanks so much. The world is a crazy place. You have a great way to navigating us through it. Thanks so much, General.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.